The Betfred Ebor looks as competitive as ever, and here to unravel the puzzle, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Nick Watts and Graham Rodway. So, gentlemen, well, Montevardo heads the market for Sir Mark Prescott. Bounced back to form with aplomb, bolting up at glorious Goodwood. Nick, one thing you'd say about him, though, he blows hot and cold. Do you think it's going to be hot or cold this time around?
He has been blowing cold, but he's suddenly started getting hotter, hasn't he? And you know, a lot of people, Tom Seagal included, expected a big run at Goodwood last time, and he was backed accordingly, and he provided a big run as well, won really well. Yeah, he seems to have progressed gradually. His first runs, like you said, weren't promising. A little bit more on his second start. Then, of course, came good at Goodwood last time. So I think we can assume that he is blowing hot right now. And on the back of that performance, I was very impressed with it, actually. Sir Mark Prescott knows what it takes to win this race. Past master with handicaps, isn't he, and improving them. Yeah, he's a deserved market leader in my book.
But you wouldn't back him at 5 to 1?
I think there is scope for his price to get shorter. If they really get hold of this on, you know, closer to the day, then I could see it going off shorter than 5 to 1, definitely bearing in mind who trains it. But at this stage, I think you could probably afford to leave it.
Graham, Montevardo, you with him or against him at 5 to 1?
I was impressed with him at Goodwood. I thought he won really nicely. He's got a £4 penalty, which is not too bad, really, considering that he won so easily. Sure to go up more than that in the weight, so he'll be well in on the day. Trained by Mark Prescott, knows the time of day with these sorts. Seems to have really improved. Last time out, got with the ground as well. I think if it comes up top of the ground, he's going to be well suited by it. He's the rock solid one in the race, but he's priced accordingly at 5 to 1. And from an anti-post perspective, Ted, we've got to be looking to take him on, really.
Okay, then, well, who will you be taking him on with? The
one I like is Kraken's Hall. Tim Easterby won at the course this season already over the distance. It's got really good course form. I think 3 wins and 4 places at the course from something like 13 runs. Has got a super course record and probably produced one of his better efforts away from the course when second behind Il de Ray in heavy ground in the Northumberland Plate. And I think that the Northumberland Plate, although being a longer race, sometimes has a good bearing on the Ebor.
Il de Ray's got a furlong to cover, a furlong between he and Plate Glory here, but Krakentor is fighting on with Icon Dream. It's Il de Ray who's all out here in a slog to the line. It's Il de Ray who's finding the courage to keep the gallop up, and Il de Ray, the Chester Cup winner, adds the Northumberland Plate. Krakentor in second.
Last time out at the course was really disappointing. One of his few disappointing efforts at York, actually, but that Northumberland Plate was running real desperate ground, and it was only 2 weeks later, I think maybe Krakentor was still feeling the effects of a hard race at Newcastle when disappointing at York last time, so I'm willing to put a line through that effort. And if he comes back to the sort of form that he's second in the Northumberland Plate or when he won at the course, I think he should go well about 16 to 1.
Okay then, so Krakentor for Graham at 16 to 1. And Nick, I know there's one in the Boys in Blue for Godolphin which has grabbed your attention.
Yeah, I think Willing Foe's quite an interesting horse. It's funny, raced Ebor, because no 3-year-olds are likely to get into it, which is quite unusual in race terms. But a lot of these older horses are still fairly unexposed. You know, they haven't been running very much. The likes of Camborne, who run 6 or 7 times. High Jinx is likely raced Quarryman, and so is Willing Foe as well. It's only had 8 starts, so there's a lot of these older horses that have still got plenty of scope for improvement. Yeah, Willing Foe doesn't get seen very often, it's, you know, but it does run well fresh. Only had 1 run this season at Ascot. It wasn't a bad one behind Fat Sota and Kill Relay. Quite a good reappearance run that, I thought. And there's a bit to be taken on trust with it because, you know, we don't see it very often. It hasn't run since July. If it comes here, it'll probably be on only its 2nd start this season. But it always shows potential, this horse, and I think it might be a little bit better than we've seen so far.
The fact it's so lightly raced is almost hiding some secrets of the handicap.
Yeah, quite possibly. I just think he's interesting. I think there's more to come from this horse. You know, I've watched him a few times now, and you get the feeling one of these handicaps is definitely within his range, within his capabilities.
Well, you can make a case for many, and one I'm quite keen on, and you as well there, Nick. One of my favourite horses in training, Steps to Freedom. Jessica Harrington, of course, was no mug over hurdles. I think went off 2nd favourite in the Supreme Novice Hurdle last year. Around the 20 to 1 mark, we'll have plenty of weight, but if the ground comes right for it, hopefully a bit of sunny weather, It's got to go well. It's got a lot of class.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if this race was, if you could guarantee, you know, nice, fast ground, I think this is exactly the kind of race that Steps to Freedom should be running in. I'm not sure these small field listed in Group 3 races in Ireland really suit him ideally. He ran in one last week, it was a bit disappointing behind Galileo's Choice. And although he has won in small fields before, my abiding memory of him was when he won the Aintree Bumper a couple of seasons ago in a massive field of 20. Paul Carberry rode him, I think, typical Carberry ride, had him out the back, cruised through the field. Switched him off and came with a really, really good turn of foot to beat Montbazon, who of course is another very good novice hurdler from last season. Got a very good turn of foot, this horse, on the right kind of ground. 1 mile 6, long straight at York, you'll get plenty of cover, there should be a good pace on, there normally is in the Ebor, just switch him off at the back. Yeah, he's got a big weight, but like we said, there's no sort of up-and-coming 3-year-olds that are likely to get in this race here, so he's taking on sort of horses of his own kind, if you know what I mean. 20 to 1, he's a very, very classy horse.
Yeah, an anti-post Nightmare the Ebor, but hopefully we've pointed you in the right direction. So thanks for watching. See you all again soon.